Hi guys, this is John from Meatgistics University, and this is Meat Processing Equipment 201, Maintenance for your Automatic Injector. Automatic syringe injectors are a great way to inject your whole muscle cut of meat with soluble seasonings, cures, and additives. Since they're soluble, it's going to dissolve and suspend in the water, so it's got really small particle size. The biggest mistake and the biggest issue that most people run into is incorrect reassembly and improper cleaning on these. So we're going to go over how to break it down, clean it, and put it back together. Now this is something you should be doing as soon as you get it and before you use it anyways, as it's got like machine oils and stuff that was used when it was made, and you just don't want that into your meat. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to remove the knot or the needle. Simply do that by twisting it right off, comes off. Now you're going to want to run this under hot water until you see water shoot out all the holes. Then you're going to want to soak it in warm water along with everything else as well. So the next thing we're going to want to do is unscrew the locking ring from the base. So to do that, you simply twist it off, and you'll see one little O-ring at the end of this canister. You're just going to take that off, set it aside, and again, you're going to want to clean that as well. Now sometimes it can be kind of hard to get this canister out, so the easiest thing that I've found is just to depress the trigger, grab it from the back, and pull it off like that. Again, set both of these aside. Everything, I suggest letting it all soak in warm soapy water for at least like 20 minutes. So the next thing we're going to want to do is to unscrew the draw nozzle from the manifold. And the first time you do this, you might need pliers. It's on there pretty good, but after you've done it a few times, it'll be fairly easy to get off. Now, as I'm unscrewing it, as soon as it comes loose, I'm going to hold it here because there's a spring and a plunger in here that we don't want to lose. So take it off gently, and here's the spring. Notice on this one that this spring is the same size on both ends. We're going to run into a spring a little bit later that's thinner on one side, so it's important to remember that this spring that's equal on both ends is the one that goes into the draw nozzle. Now inside here is a plunger, and as you can see, this also is thicker on one end than the other. You want to pay attention to how it was orientated in here. The little thin part goes down into the tube, and it actually blocks the nozzle from when you're injecting. Otherwise, if this wasn't in here, instead of going out your spray needle, it would come right back down this hose as well. So put that aside, and now we're going to let that all soak in warm water. Then we're going to take the manifold, bring off the locking ring, and we're going to unscrew the needle base holder from the manifold. Again, there's a spring in here, so we're going to be careful as we're taking it off. And, okay, this spring is thicker on one end than the other. The thinner end points out towards the needle while the thicker end points back towards the manifold. Set that aside and get this plunger out. Plunger, same thing. Thicker on the side that faces the needle, and the thin part goes back into the manifold. What this does is it blocks this passage as you're drawing up through your hose. Otherwise, it'd be coming in both ways and you get air from the needle back in. So, we've got those all disassembled, and again, we're going to soak them in warm, soapy water. But this also comes off. There's a little piece at the end here. Set that aside. And we're going to take off this O-ring here and make sure that we clean it really well. All right, so when you're cleaning, pay really special attention to your plungers. You don't want any little bits of seasoning or cure that's dried onto here, because that's going to plug everything up. 90% of the time when there's an issue, it is because a plunger has just either has too much stuff built up on it, or because it's had stuff on it that's corrosive for a while, it's eaten through it and damaged it. So now we're going to go ahead and reassemble it after we've fully dried everything. So to do that, the first thing we're going to do is put our canister back into our base. So I like to depress the trigger a little bit and push it down on it. Then we're going to find this O-ring and put it on. It won't always stay on. Sometimes we need to put the manifold back to block it, but that one seems to be doing pretty good. Then we're going to put our locking ring over our manifold and screw that back on. All right, so the next thing we're going to reattach is our draw nozzle, and we're going to make sure that the O-ring is seated correctly towards the bottom of the threads. We're going to take our plunger, put it back in with the point end facing down, going into the hole where the hose is. And we're going to take the spring that's equal sizes on both ends, and place that over the plunger. And we're going to screw it back into the manifold. And we'll just make sure it's nice and tight. It doesn't need to be as tight as it is when you first get it, so that you need pliers to get it off. All right, then we're going to go ahead and on our needle base holder, we're going to reattach this little protector. And we're going to take our O-ring and put it over the threads again. And then we're going to grab our plunger, put it back in so that it is actually sitting down in that hole, so that the thin part is blocking that hole. We're going to take our spring and make sure that we're orientating it correctly. You want the thick edge facing back towards the manifold with the thinner side pointing out towards the needle. We'll get that on there. All right. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and reattach our needle, and we're good to go. Now, when you're using this, if you're pressing it down and it stops and won't let you press any further, and there's a solution in here, release it. Let it go for a second. It's possible that your plunger and your spring have become misaligned. They'll usually kick right back in. If that continues to happen though, something's wrong and you have to remove the needle base holder and realign the plunger, make sure it's really nice and clean. 90% of the time that's gonna fix your problem. If, as you're going to fill the canister, it's either not sucking up or you're getting a lot of air, it's usually this plunger in here is misaligned with the spring, or something can be happening in here as well, the needle base, as air in here is usually a good sign that it's pulling in air back in through the needle. One last thing to talk about with this is there is this wheel at the back that allows you to control exactly how much solution goes into your canister. I always have it wide open, but you can twist it to move the plunger up further or back. Again, all the way back is just the easiest way to do it. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and visit waltonsinc.com and meatgistics.com to find everything but the meat. Thanks for watching. I'm John with Meatgistics University, and I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe to Walton's YouTube channel to watch more amazing videos, or shop at waltonsinc.com to find everything but the meat. Check out our latest sales and giveaway video here, or watch another hand-picked video by clicking here.